Hello, all you happy people. You know what? I'm the hero. Welcome to another episode of
Matt, what are you doing?
Giving an Introductory. What else?
No offense, but you kind of sounded like an idiot there.
Idiot! Why you?
Hey guys, what's going on?
We're just about to review the latest season premiere of My Little Pony.
Episode name? School Daze.
In 2 parts.
Great! So, how should we start the discussion?
Well, why don't we start with how the episode goes?
Spoiler alert!
Following the events of My Little Pony the movie, the cutie map has expanded to cover lands beyond Equestria, giving Twilight the idea to open a school teaching how beneficial friendship is not just to ponies, but other creatures like griffins, yaks, dragons, changelings, and hippogriffs. However, it all goes horribly wrong on Friends and Family Day when a group of 6 friends unintentionally cause havoc and the school is shut down by Chancellor Daze of the Equestria Education Association, or EEA for short. Despite this, Starlight Glimmer suggests to Twilight that they try again, but without following the EEA's rules. But a student from each of the 5 tribes has gone missing, so Spike and Domain 7 head out to find them to prevent an all-out war between the kingdoms.
Yes, you all heard that right. War.
Huh! What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing! Either way, the missing students were soon found, and against Naysay's wishes, the school is reopened, and the leaders allowed their students to continue studying in Equestria.
With Chancellor Naysay still out there.
Now I should mention, a few episodes of Season 8 have been leaked online. Before you ask, no, I have not seen any of them, and neither have Zack or Matt. Like any sensible fan would, we decided to wait things out and watch them when they have properly aired. After all, you can't judge a film by its trailer and a few select clips, you can't say a character is good or bad before properly analyzing them, and you can't declare something is dead on arrival when it hasn't actually been released to the public.
As much as I'm afraid the changes to Thomas and Friends might be for the worse, at least I don't complain non-stop about it on Twitter and YouTube, you bunch of stupid, irritating motherfuck!
Whoa there, Matt. Kids might be watching this, but seriously, I too am sick of idiots making jokes about racism, homophobia, and, dare I say, pedophilia, and yet call it upgrades to a preschool show that's practically an upgrade to a series of children's books that isn't aimed at them by now.
Okay, we get the message already. Just priorities, folks. Think about your priorities in life. For your own good.
Everybody got that?
Yeah,
Good!
sorry about that. Where were we again?
We were gonna talk about school days?
Oh, yeah.
Now, on the surface, the plot doesn't sound all that exciting, does it? I mean, there's no monster to battle, it's not a race against the clock, and there's no secrets about equestrian history to uncover. It's just the main cast opening a school because they do. It's no Crystal Empire or Return of Harmony, but is that really a bad thing? No. I mean, Celestial Advice is a one-part premiere, but still a pretty good one.
It may not be the greatest premiere, but I did enjoy it myself. How about you, Mike?
So did I. It was a really solid premiere. Sure, it may sound pretty basic on paper, Twilight opening a school of friendship, but when you dig a little deeper into the episode, it's more than that.
I know I said we wouldn't delve into political topics in the first episode, but I feel we may have to step outside our comfort zone for a bit. Why is that? Because the episode itself is practically relevant to what's happening in the real world.
Oh, do we have to?
Afraid so, man.
Okay, open fire.
What's happening in the episode is that it feels like awareness to what's going on in the real world. Discrimination and fear against the minorities that can trace back to decades ago. Hell, it's gotten even worse online these days, and then there's the racist assholes using the internet as a platform to spew hate speech. And for a children's show to address issues like discrimination against the minorities? I thought it was so wonderful that they're telling kids it's okay to be friends with people who are different. Something I wish older fans would take seriously instead of bashing on a certain African steam engine, but that's a review for another day.
Yeah, you'd think at this point, racism towards blacks, Hispanics, Asians, etc. would be a thing of the past. Newsflash guys, it's not the 1950s anymore. Stop spewing these ideas of stereotypes and supposed appropriation into the minds of these kids. You're making the world a worse place.
Oh, and guess what? The United States has this guy for a president, and he happens to be racist, despite his claims that he isn't.
And this is why we don't get political on this show. Moving on.
Now, as per the norm of every two-parter, the main six are featured in one way or another, as well as Spike and Starlight Glimmer, the latter whom has been a staple of the show since Season 6. First on our list is Princess Twilight herself. When she makes a proposal to open a new school next to her castle, she's given the instruction to follow the EEA requirements by the book. When Twilight does, it doesn't have the most positive effect on her friends, and she realizes where she messed up.
Twilight gets left in a brief depression, and nothing her friends say or do could cheer her up. But then Starlight Glimmer speaks.
You gave up too easily. Hey, you made me a guidance counselor. That means tough love.
And with that, Twilight decides to fix where she went wrong and open the school with her own rules, not giving regards to the EEA requirements. And regarding Starlight Glimmer, is there any two-parter post-Twilight's Kingdom that she is not featuring in one way or another? I don't think so.
I know some of you fans are going to complain, but Starlight Glimmer isn't going anywhere anytime soon, whether you like it or not. If you don't like the character, why the hell are you still watching?
I sure as hell am still watching.
Anything you'd like to say about Starlight, Matt?
Obviously, I'll say this. Her role was minor, but it was definitely impactful. Her role as school counselor was definitely a good choice.
Now, in addition to Starlight being the school's counselor, we also had the other members of the main cast teaching as well. And oh my gosh, does Rarity look so cute in her school teacher outfit? Have I mentioned I love Rarity so much?
Yes.
Alright, I'll move on. Jeez.
Anyway, the rest of the cast of the episode are pretty good overall, with Celestia giving advice to Twilight. The Kingdom leaders, barring Rutherford, are all nicely handled, and I guess that's pretty much it.
Not the longest discussion we've ever had.
Nope. Is there anyone besides Starlight that stands out to you, Matt?
I'm glad you asked that, Zack. Apart from Starlight, there is another character who stands out to me, and that's Chancellor Naysay. I have a good feeling he'll be back in some way later in the season.
It's worth noting that Chancellor Naysay was voiced by legendary voice actor Maurice LaMarche. Given the fact that Weird Al, Patton Oswalt, William Shatner, and many others have lent their voices to the show by this point, it makes sense that another veteran voice actor will voice a character on MLP eventually. Seems like your role is feeling less special, eh, Tara? Actually, Tara Strong and Maurice LaMarche have had a strong rapport over the years, having done several projects together.
I've actually heard some complaints about him being similar to Principal Cinch from Friendship Games, but I don't see it. Cinch was a manipulative bitch who wanted to maintain her reputation at the games, and Chancellor Naysay wanted all schools under the EEA to be attended by ponies only. Yeah, totally similar characters, aren't they?
Damn big difference, if you ask me.
Yeah, and given Naysay's attitude, at least at this point, I'm glad I don't fall into the trap of giving him a redemption arc, especially of how it's reached its nadir in the god-awful borefest that was Forgotten Friendship.
Well, unlike Sergeant Buzzkill here, I actually like Forgotten Friendship, despite the whole forced villain redemption thing. Though that may or may not have something to do with the multi-language series I've been working on lately.
Don't forget that I liked it too. No, scratch that. I loved it. No offense, Zack.
None taken, but I'd rather be a buzzkill than an obsessive fanboy about something that's now a load of pizza and fairy tales.
What? How can I go so good?
Hey, calm down. I didn't mean you two personally. I was talking about EG's current state in general.
And we wonder why we work with someone who thinks he's John Lennon.
Well, anyway, what can be said about the Young Six? That's what they seem to be called.
I know this is stating the obvious, but what I can say about them is that there is a possibility they will be featured throughout several episodes of the season.
Yona is practically a composite of Applejack and Verity, Oculus has traits from both Fluttershy and Twilight, Smolder and Gallus are decomposites of Rainbow Dash, and Silverstream is a next-gen Pinkie Pie. That leaves Sandbar as his own individual character with a hint at Twilight. Also, could I just say that after 7 years of voicing on the show, just how nice it is that Vincent Tong is finally being given justice?
Yeah, in the past, the characters Vincent voiced haven't really been given satisfying reaction. On the one hand, you have him playing characters who are cardboard cutouts and or blatant stereotypes, and on the other, you have him playing characters who are minor at best and straight up jerks at worst. Fortunately, Sandbar is none of those things, and he's a character that I quite like really, and I'm looking forward to seeing him more in the rest of the season.
Anyway, as for the rest of the Young Six, let's start with Silverstream the Hippogriff. Personality-wise, she's kind of uninspired. She's basically a more youthful Skystar for the movie, I don't want to sound too harsh on Silverstream since this is her debut episode, and I'm almost certain that over time we'll get to see more of her character, but so far, we see that she's fascinated with a new world around her, and she's fascinated by stairs.
While I like Skystar slightly more, Silverstream is easily a runner-up for my second favorite hippogriff in the series. Her bubbly personality and excitable voice really remind me of Webby Vanderquack from the 2017 reboot of DuckTales.
Then there's Smolder the Dragon and Gallus the Griffin. They pretty much start out similar to their respective tribes. Smolder is tough and competitive, Gallus is sarcastic and rude, and they only get along at first because of their similar personalities, but they eventually warm up to the others, especially when the school shut down and didn't want to be separated. Then you have Oculus the Changeling. Even though she's probably the 4th or 5th shy character in the series, it still works because she's the young 6's Fluttershy, and she's also quite smart, having taken hers and Twilight's lessons seriously. However, my favorite group is, without a doubt, Yona Yak. Just everything about her, really.
Yona not really like school, but Yona like new friends.
Zack still not a fan of Rutherford, but Zack find Yona really cute.
So, you found a yak-based character you actually like, eh?
Yes, I have. Well, it's not much of a contest, is it?
Not really, no.
So, Chapman Brothers, is there anything you'd like to say about the 6 that I haven't?
Not really. I've already said my bit about Sandbar and Silverstream, and I can't say much else about the others.
Me neither.
Well, I guess I'll have to wait and see what Season 8 has in store for all 6.
The next thing we'd like to talk about would be the songs. There were 2 that played during the 2-parter. For part 1, we have School of Friendship. Part 2 at the end has Friendship Always Wins.
Personally, I think School of Friendship was the better song of the 2. Friendship Always Wins was okay, but its message was a bit preachy in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say about either of them, although the latter pretty much forces out the episode's moral.
At least Ember makes a comment about it at the end of the song.
Aw, fine! If you promise to stop singing, Smolder can stay!
Okay, that bit actually is pretty funny.
That's right. That bit made me laugh a bit too.
Is there anything else about the songs we can talk about that we haven't?
I've got nothing.
Ditto.
Alright then, like we did with our Journey Beyond Soda review, these are just a few of our scattered thoughts regarding the episode that we'd like to share.
There's one thing I could bring up, and to be fair, I probably could have mentioned it when talking about Naysay, but I didn't want to. One thing about this episode that got me thinking was its similarities to the Shiny Time Station episode Schemer's Special Club, specifically Naysay's low opinion towards the non-equines as if they're not their kind. In the aforementioned STS episode, Schemer wanted to join a high society club called the Nicolaire Club, held by a prejudiced man named Hobart Hume III. He makes rude remarks towards Stacy because she is a woman, Billy Two Feathers because he's a Native American, and Becky, Dan, and Kara because they're children. Unfortunately, Schemer is blindsided by the criticisms Hume made towards his friends until Stacy and Billy tell him some words of sense.
You weren't born prejudiced. It's something that you learn from someone like your grandfather.
Where I come from, we have a name for people like you. We call them bigots.
That's a good lesson to teach kids, that prejudice is not okay, and we should treat others like they're people too, regardless of whether they look like you or not. Unfortunately, there are people that have a similar mindset to Human Naysay who don't think that way.
And even though we got it for the following episode, The Mod Couple, there's a brand new intro for Season 8. I have to say, it's much better than what we got in the last 4 seasons, as they were basically upgrades to reflect on changes within the show. Twilight becoming an alicorn, Discord camping in Fluttershy's cottage, the presence of the Friendship Castle, and Starlight during the cast's full time, etc, etc.
With this intro on the other hoof, they very much go all out with this one, showcasing characters both old and new, as well as the introduction to Twilight's friendship school. So that leads the question, will we be talking about the remainder of Season 8 in the future? Hopefully. We do hope to make a top 10 plus list towards the end of the year like we did for Season 7. We may also review other episodes of the season like the Mean Six or the finale later in the year.
And we definitely plan on reviewing the Christmas special at the end of the year as well.
School Daze was, without a doubt, the best season premiere MLP has ever had. Probably the best since Princess Twilight Sparkle on the Cutie map. There were a few issues I had, but they're too minor to completely ruin the viewing experience for me. Is it the best episode ever of the show? It's hard to say at this point, but unless something in the season can actually beat it, School Daze will go into my top 10 overall favorites. The thing we could take away from this is that it's okay to be friends with someone that's different to you. Though it's kind of sad the theme is relevant today, you'd have thought attitudes against the minorities would have died out by now.
As I've mentioned before, it is a pretty solid two-parter. Fantastic opener to what I hope will be a great season, hoping it to be just as good as, if not better than, Season 7.
I liked the episode, but I don't find it to be the best. Either way, I'm hyped for the rest of the season.
But before we do any of that, we have a few matters to attend to.
I'm Zack Wanzer.
I'm Mike Nicholson.
And I'm Matt St. Onge.
And this has been the Emotions
Corner.